everybody. You have an Aleks assignment today, and today's video is going to cover the Chapter 5, Lesson 1, 3, and 4 assignment. There are 8 questions discussing angles, polygons, and some triangles. So with the question 1, I'm going to work through each question to kind of give you an idea of what to look for. Question 1, you're looking for the corresponding alternate interior and alternate exterior angles. You're trying to find a set of each. So with corresponding angles, remember that is when if you were to be able to pick up any of these sets and move it, then it would be placed right on top of another angle, right? So if I were to pick up this set of angles and move it here, right, those two angles would be right on top of each other. So for example, 6 and 8, if I were to pick it up and move it, those would be right on top of each other, so those are corresponding angles. They are congruent. Alternate interior angles, that means, well, since they're interior, they have to be on the inside of the parallel line, so they have to be in here. So they have to be 2, 6, 3, or 7. And then alternate interior angles refer to being on the opposite sides of each other, and they have to be congruent. Okay, so for example, 6 and 3 would be alternate, right? They're opposite each other, they're inside the lines. Similarly with alternate exterior angles, they are outside the parallel lines, and they have to be opposite each other in a similar way. So for example, like 5 and 4, those would be alternate exterior angles. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense and helps out with number 1. With number 2, we have to give one pair of vertical angles and one pair of supplementary angles. Okay, so vertical angles are any time that you make an X, they are angles that are across from each other. Okay, so notice we do have 2 different X's here that we can choose from, and then so when you're making your angle, you just have to make sure they are across from each other. Okay, they are diagonal. For your other set, the other set says it has to be supplementary. Remember, supplementary makes a straight line. They make a 180-degree angle. So my advice here is to find a line, right? Just find a line anywhere, right? So for example, maybe I want to pick this line here. What 2 angles would make up that line, right? And there's a couple different possibilities that you could make. Okay, so hopefully that helps out with number 2. Number 3, in the figure below, we have one angle given to us, and we have to find the other 3. So you can go through, you can use your previous knowledge on some key factors that make this work, right? We know that this angle is 142 degrees because that is given to us, right? So by vertical angles, what other angle do we know? Well, we probably know angle 1, so think about what that angle has to be. With angles 2 and 4, we know those both have to be the same, but how do I find angle 2 or angle 4? Well, think about it. I know that 3 and 4 make a straight line, and what's a straight line? Well, that's 180, right? So I could do 180 minus 142 to get my missing angle, and then that would be the same for 2 and 4 because they are also vertical. Continuing on with number 4. So number 4, we are given a triangle, and we have to find the value of x. So remember, all 3 angles have to add up to be 180. So what we can do is add up 73, 75, and then we have our missing angle x, and that has to equal 180, right? So we can add and then subtract from 180. Number 5, we have an exterior angle, so we need to figure out what the interior angle is, and then that helps us find out what x is. So for example, I know that this whole line is 180, so if I do 180 minus 144, that will give me this missing angle here, and then I can do 88 plus whatever this angle is here, plus x, and that also has to equal 180. Okay, so hopefully that kind of makes sense and helps you out with number 5. With number 6, we have a quadrilateral here, and we have to know that all 4 angles equal 360. So what I can do is I can take 360 and subtract 136, and I can subtract 86, and I can subtract 65. Okay, that is the most direct and easiest method of finding this missing angle, is to take 360 and subtract all the other angles. Now, with 7 and 8, those are definitely two of the trickier problems on this assignment. Okay, number 6, you have to find the sum of the interior angle measure of a convex 16-sided polygon. Okay, so there are 16 sides here. Remember that the formula we need to know is that the sum of all the angles, has to equal the number of sides minus 2 times by 180. Right? So we're just going to plug in what we know. So we would do 16 minus 2 times 180, and that will give us our angle measures. And lastly, with number 8, we have to find the sum of the interior angle. We're given the sum is 1080. We're trying to figure out how many sides does it have. So we're still going to use this same formula, but now since we have the angle measures given to us, so 1080, that's going to be plugged in for S, right? And we don't know how many sides there are, so we're going to leave that as n minus 2, and then times it by 180. Oops, that was a mistake there. So 180. So we can go through, we can solve it. So our first step would have to be divide by 180 on both sides, right? Because that helps us get that n minus 2 by itself. So if I do that, divide by 180, I get 6 equals n minus 2, right? Because that's all that's left when we divide is n minus 2. And then we add 2 to both sides, and we get n equals 8, right? So that's kind of the idea behind that one, is being able to use that formula. So I hope this video kind of helps. I know I kind of rushed through it a little bit, but you should have a good idea based on the bookwork assignments that you've already done. So I hope that you have a great day, and thanks for watching.